Alright, this was an instant classic because both sides knew exactly what their advantages were, so there was a high level of execution on offense. And for the Nugs, a lot of it stemmed from their size. The Thunder only had one big in Jay Will, so they were forced to play small throughout the night, and the Nugs definitely exploited that because they were looking to attack the paint non-stop, especially through the post. Damn near every time Aaron had a cross match early, he was either finishing at the rim, getting to the line, or making a drop off, because whenever the Nugs were in the post, the Thunder were flooding or even tilting at times, so he just had to make the right read, and it was no different for Yoke. But I wouldn't say the Thunder's low rotations were bad, because they were consistent, and they did get some stops at times, so it was really just a matter of their low man being too small. That's what led to Queso getting 3 fouls early, and what was really opening up the floor for Aaron to play bully ball was just Yo providing the usual hub, because him being up top or at the elbows forced J. Will to stay hugged, so the Nugs were able to play 4 out. Even in the Nugs screening actions, Yoke was creating somewhat of the same spacing advantage, especially on all the backsides or DHOs, because on the first possession, J. Will showed off Maul's screen, and that forced a switch for Yoke to eat on the roll. So after that, the Thunder's adjustment was to keep J. Will in a drop for the rest of the night. On the few more instances where Maul was still able to force the switch, Yoke exploited his size advantage every time. So Maul and the other Nugs just got to exploit the space against J. Will's drop, because first, J. Will had to respect Yoke's pop, then second, without Shed as help on the backside, the Thunder just couldn't afford to switch or show against Maul, and the drop was really their best way of containing the rock. There were even instances where J. Will would vacate quickly instead of lingering on the help, but the issue was Maul struggled to exploit that space, and it was somewhat the same for the other Nugs, except for Timmy, because late in the first, he was at least able to, so after that stretch, he got into a rhythm. That was crucial, because he went on to make timely trades throughout, and he was Yoke's most consistent help. But that still wasn't enough, so I could tell Yoke started taking matters into his own hands more in the second half, especially late in the quarters. I think the Nugs just had too many issues, because first, Jonas couldn't provide enough spacing in the dunker, so he couldn't play at all, and that led to Yoke or even Aaron being the primary bigs. Then second, Maul was struggling to exploit his screening actions or his ones, and even Aaron was struggling to exploit his post-ups the way he was in the first half, so everything had to basically be funneled through Yoke, because on his inverteds, elbow catches, or post-ups, he was generating a quality shot. Fortunately, the Nugs recognized that, so he was getting the play calls down the wire, because down 6, Adelman ran the patented UCLA for him to get an open look from deep in the corner. Then down 4, Adelman ran a patented misdirection for him to get an open look from deep up top, and after faking the pin down for Timmy, he got a pin from Maul. That led to a 4-point play, because J. Will overreacted, and that could have forced OT, but Shai matched Yoke's buckets on the other end, so Shai spoiled his heroics with his own. That was basically the theme of the night, because throughout, there were a lot of lead changes, and the Thunder were exploiting their own advantages, so the Nugs were damn near always in a scramble on defense. As expected, a lot of that was stemming from Shai, because the Nugs' game plan did not work at all, so when they were loading up on his ones, and even when they were outright selling just to force the rock out of his hands, they paid for it. First, Yoke being assigned to Lou throughout just allowed Lou to pop. Then second, Shai didn't need a ball screen from J. Will, because he could just attack quick in transition or semi-transition per usual, or even hunt Maul whenever he wanted to, and J. Will was dangerous as a spot-up, so Yoke trying to play free safety was really just opening up the backside for the other Thunder. All they had to do was be decisive on the catch, because whenever Shai was drawing 2, 3, 4, or even 5 bodies at times, they were able to unlock their driving kick by playing .5 basketball, and the Thunder had great spacing from their small ball. They were getting lays, or sprays for trays, and they were even able to get drop-offs at times because they were either playing 4 or 5 out, so it just depended on whether the dunker was occupied or not. But it wasn't just about Shai's gravity, it was about AJ's gravity too, because he was just as responsible for jumpstarting their offense as soon as he subbed in, and throughout the night, the Nugs struggled to contain him just as much, so he consistently got to his spots. Him and Shai were basically getting wherever they wanted, so in the second half, the Nugs made a concerted effort to stop Shai at all costs, because they were basically building a wall to plug up all the lanes, and selling even more. At least he was still able to find openings, split two, or get off the rock quick, because it was a lot harder for him to score, so his best looks were from deep, and that's usually what defenses are willing to give him. But unfortunately for the Nugs, he made them, including back-to-back ones in the final 30 seconds, and fortunately for Shai, the others were able to open up those shots for him, because on those possessions, the Nugs didn't sell when they should have. So that's a clear sign they were probably concerned about the others continuing to burn him on the backside. Just watch the tape.
And on a night that he ties Wilt Chamberlain, SGA's greatest hit tour continues.